I wanted to do this exercise with you guys. What events do we want to see get Netflixified? So we've talked about what that means. You can get creative. We don't have to do a set number, but let's just kind of run through the options of what we're most excited about that's kind of on the menu, things that might have rights coming up soon, things that maybe that Netflix could kind of carve off the way that they have with Christmas. Things that I think kind of fit this mold and that we really want to see as viewers. So, Drew, I will let you go first. I feel like you had the least preparation because I threw this idea at you and I've been having it in Ben's mind for longer. But you can be our first victim here. What do you want to see get Netflixified in the world of sports broadcasting?
Yeah, I'm going to go off the board because I feel like UFC is kind of the clear answer given the TKO stuff. They're all already involved in Netflix with the WWE.
And it's the only thing available.
Exactly. And yes. And then there's the obvious one with F1, but I'll stop. So here is my off the board pick. I think Netflix would be great with the Triple Crown of horse racing. It's 3 one-off events, which is kind of in the Netflix, ethos, right? They're all very big. Unfortunately, the Kentucky Derby is with NBC through 2032. So this is like 7 years down the line. The Preakness also just reached an extension with NBC. I don't think it's for as long. I can't quite remember what it is. And then Belmont's over at Fox. But if these rights were to become available, because horse racing ratings have been down the last few years for the Triple Crown, maybe some networks want to get out of their deals early. Who knows? I think Netflix could do a really great job with that sport. You could, envision a show about the jockeys or about the horses, kind of similar to the Drive to Survive style docuseries that they've done for a million sports. Yeah, that's the other part
we didn't even talk about. That's the other kind of piece of the pie with Netflix is they want to give you a docuseries.
Exactly.
They're doing a WWE one.
So it just seems like this would be kind of the perfect property because it's only 3 times a year. And it's not something people are really keyed into the rest of the year, but by, Netflixifying it, they could really grow the audience of those types of events, I think.
I mean, I agree completely. That is a perfect example. The celebrities are already there, right? So like that whole aspect of it is tailor-made. And the ability to generate attention around something that we might think of as dead right now because it just kind of pops on NBC or Fox sometime. I don't even know when those races necessarily take place. I hear about them a week or two ahead of time. If I'm not caring, I'm not going to tune in unless I'm a fan. But like again, to kind of the Netflixification idea, like that WWE row of tiles popped up last week and everybody that has the service just knew about it. Even if you don't even care about the WWE, now all of a sudden you know when Raw is on, you know where Raw is on, and when Raw is on. Most people wouldn't have been able to answer those 3 questions. Now all of a sudden they just can because it's right below them, finishing up whatever Stranger Things episode that they were watching last. So I think that's a perfect answer. What you got, Ben?
I think the NFL draft, and that's actually one that is going to be available after this year. Its rights are up starting in 2026. I think it plays perfectly into the Drive to Survive format where you could have a run up to it. You could go to the combine. You could, follow 5 prospects, have it be a top quarterback and a guy barely, fighting to get drafted and really put together an interesting series there. And then I think that it would just kind of breathe new life into that format in the draft. And if you're successful with that, maybe you not only get the NBA involved, but you turn the MLB draft into a thing. You turn the NHL draft into a thing. Like those are media properties that don't seemingly have a lot of value. I can't imagine they get sold for a lot of money right now, but I could definitely see if anything could do it. I think it could be a Netflix style, not only the eventization of it, but the Drive to Survive type of format. So to see them get involved with the draft, I think that makes a lot of sense. It's something that's readily available here pretty soon for the NFL too.
You guys nailed the assignment. I love this.
I didn't even know NFL draft was available in 2026. Not even something that was on my radar.
Yeah. I only knew because Mike Greenberg got asked about it and he kind of like begged ESPN to keep it because I think he likes to do it. So, and understandably, but I think it is exactly the thing we're talking about, where it's a weekend. It's big. It gets attention. They already do stuff with NFL media. It probably wouldn't be hard to get, some ESPN talent if needed or whatever. And they can just kind of spin it off from there. And I think people already are seeing Netflix as an NFL destination between these games and the shows. And now this would be perfect. To keep on that, just to throw out other things we have not yet said, Drew mentioned a few. The early Sunday international package, that's almost too obvious. Everybody has already been drawing a circle around that as a potential thing for the NFL if they were to maybe extend the season and have some more travel time wiggled in there, or even if they don't, they do it like a third of the weeks in the season at this point, adding the rest of the way. Netflix being so internationally focused, Amazon would probably want a bid there too, but that obviously makes a ton of sense. F1 we talked about, UFC we talked about. Another thing that's with NBC through 2032 that we haven't hit is the Olympics. I wouldn't be terribly surprised if Netflix tried to get in on that in some way, shape, or form when that deal comes up, although we know it's very, very important to NBC and obviously Peacock this past year as well. But I'll go with one that is very on the board for my answer, which is the NBA in-season tournament. They were supposedly in talks to buy those rights during this last round of negotiations. They ended up going to nobody. It's just going to be regular season games treated the same exact way. I believe Amazon or NBC, one of the new partners, is supposed to be getting the games, the finals, the knockout rounds of this NBA in-season tournament that take place in Vegas and technically don't happen in the NBA, schedule and standings. But the whole thing being on Netflix is just enough of a limited special thing that I think it could work. Maybe they start with just the knockout round games and they work backward from there or something. But I think that would be a nice way to kind of get in on the ground level with a sport like that and kind of see where you can go. Baseball doesn't really have anything like that. The NHL, doesn't really have it but that little carve out of the NBA schedule, I think could be pretty cool. The Vegas of it all obviously wouldn't hurt either, but that's where I'm at.